Hello everybody in the chess world. So we continue here with playing some games. I'm gonna use well, let's take this one. It's 5 minutes plus 4 seconds. I'll try to show the ideas and moves while I'm playing. So he goes for e4. We'll play d6 and try to go for a Pirc or more on defense, basically Pirc, maybe Philidor, so knight on f6. And now then after normal knight c3 would go g6, just normal Pirc. I'll just wait. I'll just wait to see what variation he's going to choose. Bishop on e3 is interesting. This usually hints the idea of continuing with the Saemisch variation. And yeah, I'm gonna go first bishop on g7. I don't see why not. He's probably gonna play queen on d2. It's also kind of like the what was his name? The 150 attack, I think. Yeah, that's the one. Queen on d2. So I think I could just c6 and b5. If bishop on h6, I could even take it and then go b5. He just goes castle. So b5 anyway, trying to just win space and throw some pawns against his king. He'll try the same. Probably the normal plan is bishop on h6, h4, and h5. These are all typical. And I could go just for b4 and a5, even a5 immediately. But okay, he's thinking f3 is another move. I mean, if he does nothing, I'll probably just go b4 and take the e4 pawn. Okay, that's why finally f3 with like pure Saemisch. And here I like, for example, queen on a5 and knight bd7 are moves that I like. I'm going to start with queen on a5. I think it's probably not the best move, but it's annoying for blitz. Some ideas of b4, stuff like that, we might have hitting here. So he might just play king on b1, something like that. Another idea is if white wants to go like this one day, well, he played e5 now. It's an interesting move, actually. Yeah, why not? What should I play? I could even play b4 here. If he takes the knight, then I'll take his, and then he could play queen takes queen. That's interesting. Or b4, knight on b1. Then I could go to d5 and hit the knight. Also, there's, for example, b4, and after takes and takes, yeah, just queen takes. I kind of like that. I'm going to play b4. I think this is good because the idea is then I want to play knight on d5 and hit on this bishop. It looks good. And again, he takes f6. I should just play b takes on c3. He has no time to take on g7 because I take on d2 with a check. So that's the thing, right? Pawn takes, pawn takes, pawn takes with the idea of taking here, making a queen. Of course, this comes with check, so it's not possible. But he might go, he takes f6, b takes e3, queen takes e3, for example. That's possible. Takes, 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 or even takes. I guess with the queen, if you're going to double the pawns around this king, should probably play. Well, he did now, but after b takes e3, he's going to play queen takes on c3. Is the only move. B takes e3 possible, but not too much. So we're probably going to exchange queens on c3, and then I'll take on f6. I have a choice. Maybe with the bishop, it's the most natural move. That would allow some bishop on h6, but I don't know. Maybe it's not too much. But we're waiting to see. I mean, I don't know why he's thinking so much because b takes e3 looks like playable, but pretty risky. I assume he's going to take first with the queen, forcing the exchange of queens. And if b that looks wrong because he takes with the bishop. He's playing creatively. This one I totally missed. When I rook g8, he takes it. I could play just queen takes bishop. He played a pretty smart line. I totally missed this. Kudos for him. But still, I should be fine, right? Well, if I take on a2, he takes with a check, and there's no mate. But you always gotta check it. Okay, let's play that. Let's just check. And after rook takes e2, well, he took with the queen, with the king, which is fine. And now it looks like I'm winning. I'm getting an extra pawn on g7. Maybe I'm gonna have no. It's the same thing. It's actually equal material. So he's probably better actually. I don't know. At least I'll have a weird rook on g7. My position seems really solid, though. I should say. Should I rush to take that or try to develop maybe? This one I should think about because maybe I would like something like f6, king f7, and taking the g pawn. Is that better actually? Maybe that's a little slow. If the rook on g7 looks like he's gonna have to go back. I could go bishop and knight on d7. Probably wants to play h4 next. So what if I just go f5 here? And I do have maybe, well, but then there's this hole right here. It's a little bit too much. But rook takes g7, he should go h4 probably. With simple idea of h5, right? Takes just h4 to play h5. That looks a little bit uncomfortable. Okay, let's not take so much time and just take it on g7. It's probably not the best move, but I don't know. I'm assuming he's, well, he might develop here, but h4 with idea of h5 looks like a decent move. But I don't know. Who knows? Bishop d3, knight 92. They're all possible moves. What else? He was really well fine before, right? I totally missed that f takes g7 move. The knight on e2 just developed. Maybe I should just go h5. I somehow like that move. He could take and play knight on f4, but then I have h1. I don't think he'll take and open up the file. He might play h3. Let's go h5. He might go h3. Then I can think of development because it looks like he never wants to take on h5. Well, I just said that and he did, but maybe he wants to play h4 and then knight on f4, something like that. Knight on f4 doesn't look bad either, but at least I get to play h4, right? So maybe bishop on d3 simply now. He will have some knight on h5 one day, maybe. But he still looks better. I mean, I gotta say, yeah, he looks much better. Bishop on d3, I assume. Maybe I'll go bishop on a6, but there is bishop on e4. So this already looks like a pretty good move. g5, that's more ambitious. Is it good though? g5. I think I should just go bishop on f5 right now. Yeah, I'm not gonna think about it. I'm just gonna go bishop on f5. Just prevent bishop on e3, or at least be able to exchange it. His pawn is protected by the knight. He took it. Well, because knight takes on c6, he can bend the knight. So it's interesting. But then I could go back with the bishop, right? I don't see why not. I'm just gonna take it, just like that. And now bishop b5, bishop on d7. Well, yeah, that was the idea. My pawns are weird. I don't know. At least I'm aiming to just play rook a b8 now. It looks weird, my position, but not too bad. My pawns are kind of weak. Pawn on f3 as well. Knight on d5. It's interesting. Looks like a pretty good move. Should I play? Do I have something special here? I mean, of course, he wants to go just here. I could go king on d8. It looks interesting. Then I could go e6. He could play then something like king d8, rook h1. I'll exchange rooks. And then it's annoying then. So maybe king on f8. Is that the move? Because knight on c6 is not too much. All right, let's go king on f8. It looks better, right? Now if rook g1, he's not really threatening anything. But now my bishop is hanging, so I still want to play rook here. Maybe he'll have stuff like knight on b4. That move looks good. Should I play simply rook a b8? He takes, I take, and he takes on e7. It's too risky. Should I play e6? He has knight on f6. Looks decisive. So that's pretty strong. Rook g2 check, and then what? I could check and play, I don't know, check. He plays king on c1. Then I could go, I'm not sure what should I play there. It's getting a little bit complicated. If I play 6 knight on f6, that looks too strong. If I play rook on g5, could take and I take, and he takes on e7. I'm just gonna play rook b8, I think. I'm giving up the e pawn. Well, he has to take, but then there's gonna be rook d2 check, and I don't know, I'm not sure. Losing a pawn, but in weird circumstances. I think it is a must anyway. I have to activate some pieces and relinquish some material, otherwise he crushes. But he should take on c6 probably, right? Just bishop takes c6. After bishop takes c6, knight takes on e7. He's also hitting the bishop. Rook g2 check. He cannot go with rook on e2 because I exchange and win the knight. But he can just play king on c1. Then I take on f3. It looks like we're going maybe for that line. I could also take on f3 immediately, but I kind of like the check because he has to go. Actually, should I take on f3 first? I'm really not sure. Is there something special against that? I'm gonna take on f3 first. I'm not sure. He went there. If I go rook checks, he can even play rook on e3, but then I take on c2. It's weird. Check. He plays. Let's start with the check anyway because king e3. I can just go away with the bishop, for example, and the knight is hit. That's an option. I want to keep that bishop, and the knight is controlling a lot of squares around it, so it's not easy. Couldn't go all the way back to b7 or a8. Yeah, he played rook e3. King e3 is not a bad move at all. Also, I could go simply to g4, but I want to cut the knight that wants to go to f5. Let's start. How far away should I go? g7? Really not sure what to play then. Gonna go weirdly to b7. I'm cutting the attack on the b2 pawn, but I'm hitting the knight. I'm hitting the h2 pawn. Might play knight on f5. I could play rook checks, exchange rooks, and then take on h2, and then look at c2. Because I'm interested in exchanging one pair of rooks. Well, that's what he played. I think I'll play check. He'll go away. I'll take it. He take on there. I can take on c2, and there is no checkmate. Yeah, I'll play check. I want to take on c2. Maybe it was better to just take it on c2. But I'm feeling like I kind of like this. He's going to go for the attack, apparently. So wants to take on d6. Then I can... and it's going to be on e2. That's a little bit dangerous. If I play check first, what happens? Because king g5, I should have some f6. That's so weird. I mean, king g5, f6, he has king g6. No, I have... Yeah, I think he has king g5, king g4 he played. Should I play bishop c8? I don't see why not. I'll play it. I'll blitz it out because running out of short on time, and I think it looks winning. He cannot protect the knight, so it was probably a blunder. King g5, f6 was kind of weird. I don't know. What a weird game. It feels though as he was kind of better all the time. Yeah, let's take just with the bishop and hitting hero. I could take on h2 with check then. But I like hitting on c2 and trying to give the pawns. He did that. I'll just take on c2. He's gonna try to have some hopes with the h pawn, but I think I could. Yeah, I should just take all the pawns. Worst case scenario, I'll give up the bishop for the pawn and try to win like that. There is the 4-second increment. Well, there I should probably just go here because I'm also here, right? Besides this pawn, yeah. But then I have check, and if you go here, I'll win the rook. So I should just win the h pawn, and now there should be no hope. Well, but that's a bad one. That's just now it's game. Check and take the rook. I think I played pretty awful the whole game. My opponent played really well. Yeah, now he resigned. Let's just make a really short recap. I still have time on the recording video, but looks like he was just better all the time. I mean, I played this e5 was interesting. I really like, and kudos for my opponent, this move. This I totally missed. That after pawn takes, bishop takes. Really nice tactical resource for him. But still, I was feeling always not too comfortable. I mean, there's equal material. Maybe shouldn't have opened up that file for my rook, but actually, I think he should be really much better here. Even d5 is interesting. I would have played bishop on d3. I think it looked awful for me after bishop on e3. Because what I said, then if bishop on a6, he should have at least bishop on e4. Okay, I can play d5 then, but I'm liking less and less the position. D5 looks interesting, but at least now I could breathe and I mean, here it looks like I'm busted, right? I had to give up the pawn. Maybe not so much. It's weird, but yeah, this is a critical move. This is a blunder. After that, he's lost. But king on g5 was really interesting. I was looking at, but f6 he could even actually, because I was looking at the same thing. If it takes, I play here and there is no checkmate. It's amazing. Uh, but what else? King g5, f6, king g6 was I looking at? I think I was looking at something like this because then there is no bishop on e4. I mean, it's totally unclear. I don't know. Anyway, well played, and I'll continue on next game. Okay, the one I just played, I was played by the bell. Let's see. This is 5 plays 3 or Pirc 5 plays 4. This is 5 plays 4. Let's play this guy. So 1492 is rating. For her, so it's kind of new. Okay, the opponent. Okay, then it's playing. So let's start by d6. Maybe we'll play some kings in the defense with g6 and bishop. Well, now it looks like a London. I can show the usual plan that I play. Normally, it's just knight on d7 and win the tempo with e5. So let's play that. So it's 5 plays 4. Yeah, and this winning a tempo, it's really comfortable. My opponent's playing with the most solid possible setup. Now I like this queen e7. This way I hold on this pawn and I can go simply knight gf6 and castles, just as what I like in the video that I show of the London defense, modern against London. I show that. In some lines, well, I mean, I guess my opponent's gonna play bishop on e2 and castles. That's the most normal line. Okay, play something different. Queen on b3. That's unusual. Should I or something special? I could go just knight g on f6. Yeah, I don't see anything special about it move for the moment. I'm gonna go knight g on f6 and castle. So maybe knight on e4 if he lets me. Sometimes, let us say he plays bishop on e2, I could go knight on e4, and white goes bishop on h4 in those lines. Sometimes it's some move that usually computers don't like, but it is a little bit uncomfortable. Yeah, and a bit, I imagine bishop on c4, he will try to go for this battery. I'm guessing, I mean, why not just going for castles, right? Looks like the natural move. But okay, it's playable. He's delaying. Well, okay, that was the idea, to play super aggressively. This is interesting. Maybe I could go knight on e4. And then if he goes h5, maybe I should. Yeah, I like knight e4 because h5 seems like too much now, right? I take it, and if he takes, I'll take here. I mean, here, finally. In the end, my queen is on e3, right? So it doesn't look. I mean, and of course, I just want to play knight 6 on g3 and double up those pawns. Maybe even if he doesn't care that much because he tries to castle long. Okay, looks like a little bit too uncompromised. It's h4 here, just like that. He played h5, but yeah, I'll take it here. He has h6, e6, where of course, well, he took it there. But what about? Oh, he can take with the c pawn. That I miss. He can just take like that and allow the king to protect. But even so, the pawn chain is quite awful. The attack for the moment is yet not going over. I understand that after pawn 6, yeah, I can never take with the, of course, with the f pawn because it's spin. That is clear, not like that, like this. But well, right now he probably has to just simply go c takes because knight takes on queen takes on e3 is a threat. And let's think about after c takes on d4. What should I play? I could go knight on b6. I could go. Let me see. Well, I could actually just simply go rook on e8 and harass e3, right? It looks quite. Oh, that's oh, castles. Whoa, that's incredibly aggressive. So queen takes e3 check, king on h1 or h2. I'm actually gonna take first with the check and then ask. Like I don't know. It's too free, that move. It's irresistible. Now what should I do? Knight on e5 is a move which has the idea of knight on g4 at some point. and of course to then develop this bishop. So make a lot of sense. But let me think a little bit right here because he's playing too happily. I mean, even queen on h6 is annoying because, and then if g4, knight on e5, I mean, queen on h6 is quite annoying. I don't know what I'm thinking so much about. If he plays g4, let's see that. If I played a simple queen on h6 and after g4, I don't know, knight b6 even. I'm not really seeing why not playing that. It's I know it seems much better to just develop the knight somewhere. I don't know. Again, irresistible. Queen on h6. I'll just go queen on h6. I mean, if he doesn't go g4, but if he does, knight on e5 is a move. Knight on b6 is a move. He never has g5 because I take on queen on h4. He's only playing an expected move. So what about just queen takes pawn? Is there a problem with that? He wants to play knight on g6, not enough. That's nothing. Well, he wants to simply hit on f7. So I should play, yeah, knight on e5 first. I actually missed this move. Of course, what am I saying? What am I saying? Maybe I could even just take on h5 anyway, and after, if he takes with the rook, it's annoying. But I don't see why not playing simple knight on e5, right? Yeah. Let's just playing knight on e5, protecting on f7. Hitting on one of the attackers, and it is the good bishop. So this looks like. I mean, he could even go c takes d4, but I'll just take on c4 and then on h5, and it should be nothing. Okay, again, he's playing a little too happily. Well, that move that was expected. I don't see why not just playing h takes g5, but I'll think about it a little bit. Maybe there's better, right? I mean, knight takes g6 looks ridiculous, and knight takes c4, he could take even f7. Yeah, I mean, let's just go for h takes g6 and continue, with the ideas of, well, basically knight takes on c4 and bishop on e6. It's a normal sequence. How many pawns up? 2 pawns up. Okay, one is still right here on d4, but okay, the opponent is quite aggressive, so he has an interesting way of playing. But it looks like now it's gonna have to try to find some incisive moves, because otherwise, I mean, the objective advantage for black should be huge. Okay, king on h1, but I guess I could just take on c4 and bishop on e6. I see no problems with that. I'm gonna do that because that way also I take his queen away from the threatening the b7 pawn, so I can, yeah, develop with a tempo without blundering one of the extra pawns here on b7 and make f7 solid forever. And well, I'll always even have this check, right? Then some bishop on I mean, something like this. Or bishop on e5 first, but maybe king g7 and king h8. Oh, actually, that one I totally blundered that pawn. We have to recalculate here. It looks like I'm totally fine anyway, but that move I totally missed, and now he's eating all of my pawns. So bishop on e5 for starters looks really annoying. I don't see a reason not to play that. I'm just hitting on g3 that then hits here and proposes mating here. Funny how I totally missed queen takes on c7, just protected the pawn. This is even worse. But yeah, I won't play. I won't think about it anymore. Just bishop on e5 and just intending this move that should be very strong. I'm, by the way, protecting the central d6 pawn. Even actually, queen on e3 looks like a threat. Right now, I have all the dark squares in here, so yeah, bishop on e5 looks quite decisive. If he plays, what is there? Knight on f3. No, I can just take on g3. There's no problem. I'll have queen on e3 check. He's thinking, but it's looking pretty dark for him right now. It was too much, the attack that he launched. And also development, right? That is your problem. He has the knight here, therefore this rook is also not lane, and of course, king's position of the king is the exposure of the king. It's too much. It's too much. So he's thinking, try to come up with something, but it's hard to find what to do. Knight is also in big trouble, so I don't know. Yeah. maybe going back to the, well, he took on b7, but how it's bishop takes g3 and bishop on bishop, is there something special? Bishop takes g3, knight on f3. If I play queen e3, king on h1 and king on g7, I could give the check first. I could totally give the check first. I'm not sure why I will do that. Check first. King, let's say h1. Let's say no, king h1 is the only move. So then I take on g3 with the queen. No, because then there is knight on f3. Anyway, it looks like the same, about the same. I don't know. It feels like queen e3 check first is better because it's kind of for free. And then maybe I could take it with the queen on g3, and if knight on f3, well, yeah, I could. And then after knight on f3, some king g7, but maybe just bishop takes on g3, and then, I mean, hitting the knight and then going for king on g7. Is that actually better? I take it. Knight takes g6. He has no. He doesn't have that. After knight on f3, is there something better? There's no bishop on g5. Or queen takes g3, knight on f3, king g3. I'm threatening check, and it's not like. I don't know. I'll take it with the bishop. I assume both are winning, but this one has the idea of king h7 and rook, king g7, rook g8 without allowing king, a possible king on g1. So I guess that is why I'm playing like this. So knight f3, king g7 looks like there's not much to do for white in there. And what else is there, right? He's thinking, but it kind of looks like this one might be over. Yeah, he played king knight on f3. I'm just checking twice, but no, I see no. What is there? Knight g5. I think I'm just going king g7, and yeah, this big threat. Well, that kind of, I mean, that move did not attend the threat, so of course it's just gonna be made on the next move. Okay, my opponent played pretty well anyway. King here was unstoppable. I'll wait for him to resign before making a brief comment on the game. I guess he just went too aggressive, but initially the position was quite decent. So maybe it's not the regular plan that queen on b3 and bishop on c4 line, but at least he was, I don't know, it makes he was consequent with what he did, and he just played h4 and h5, and he had too much of a risk. He allowed knight 6 on g3 as well. So yeah, that was a little bit too much. But maybe there were alternatives. So yeah, he's just gonna let his time run out, and he did. Yeah, good game anyway. Let's just briefly see. Yeah, queen b3 is a little bit unusual, and again, h4, I guess it's at least been consistent with this thing, but it looks, as it sometimes happens, it's a little bit superficial because this move is already strong. I mean, he could have played bishop on h2 here, or I don't know, rook h3, just knight on b6. I don't know, but this is already too much. And here c takes d4. I don't know, rook e8, maybe king f2 or something. But okay, so, well, thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you on the next video.